December 6th, and I'm Amy Corr, and I'm here with Kevin Van Eck, and we are out of our Goose Island studio this morning. And we have a really great topic. I know a lot of us are thinking about laying the foundation for 2023, working on business planning, setting our goals. I think a lot of us are also a little bit nervous or wondering what next year will bring. So we want to talk about a really cool concept. It is actually from a podcast, shocker. I was out walking my dog again, dogs, and it's from Mel Robbins. And it was something she did a couple of weeks ago, and it's about the power of manifesting. And I absolutely loved it. And when I made Kevin listen to it, he agreed that this was something we wanted to talk about this morning.
Yeah, I think it's really applicable now as we are setting goals, right? It's the time where we're determining where we want to be, not only in 2023, but after that as well. And so talking about manifesting, one of the things that Mel shares in the podcast is that there's a lot of hocus pocus out there, a lot of misinformation as to what manifesting actually is and then how to go about using it successfully. So that's what made the podcast really interesting. And overarchingly, what does manifesting mean? It means taking yourself from a place of wanting something to having it or believing that you can get it. And the believing part is really important. It's all about training our minds as to how we're going to get there and believing that we already have it or can have it. And so we've got 4 steps from this podcast that Mel shared that we're going to share with you today.
Yeah, so I love this. The first one is actually really straightforward. It is telling the truth about what you really want. And I think, one of the things Mel talked about is, what is it that you want? I think when we are goal setting or we're sitting around colleagues, peers, other people, sometimes we get lost in what other people want for us or what we think we should be really wanting. So your first step is to really think about what is it that you want in your life, personally and professionally. And I think there's a couple things here. I think you want to write that down, but then you also want to say it out loud. There is something about you taking it from up in your brain to actually voicing it and communicating it, putting it into the universe and having it be that others hear you say it out loud. And I think it's an important step too, because Kevin and I were talking about how, last week we mentioned the idea that our mindset is naturally negative. The way we survive as humans is kind of in a negative place because we want to try and protect ourselves. Part of manifesting and getting to a place where you can achieve things is learning to shift your brain from really being in this negative space to this space, as Kevin mentioned, of you believing that something is going to happen. So step number 1, say it out loud, write it down, and make sure you share it with people. And it is okay if it's a little scary. It's meant to be.
Yeah, if it's not a little bit scary, then is it a real goal? Is it something where you're pushing yourself to a new place? So number 2 then, vision boards. So what's really funny here in the podcast, actually, Mel has somebody that called in or messaged in, and she said, what are we, 6 with vision boards? I'll be honest, when I hear about vision boards myself sometimes, I know Amy created one.
Yep.
And I know everyone from one of the training programs here created one. I'm skeptical, but here's where reality sets in. And where Mel says, and why I now believe this, is that it's not about putting what your final goal is on the vision board. So it's not about putting the Mercedes that you want, or it's not about putting the beach house on the vision board. The way a vision board works is you actually have to visualize the steps to get to where you want to go. And those are the items that you put on the vision board. So instead of the beach house or second home that you want, you put the steps in what you need to do to get there. So here's some real life examples that we can use in our business or in what we're doing. So let's first say you're running a marathon. Instead of putting yourself crossing the finish line on the vision board and a picture of the Chicago Marathon medal, you put on a picture of lacing up your shoes. You visualize yourself running in the rain or running in the snow or training, getting up at 4:30 a.m. to make sure you can get runs in. And maybe if it's about outreach and it's about prospecting, you maybe put a photo of the stationery that you are going to purchase or the stationery you have. You put that on your vision board. You put the steps in what it's going to take to get to where you want to go versus the end goal.
Yeah, I love that because I think for so many of us, it is this idea of, all right, this is what I want to accomplish. and then there's no real path to get there,
Right.
right? And I know that that's happened for me a number of times. And so I love that idea, especially for the vision board, because I did put the beach house up, or I did put all of that. And, so I'm really going to take that because I like that idea of figuring out what the steps are so you can take action to get to that end goal.
Yeah, I thought of something that's a little bit dangerous too. I was thinking about, okay, if you know you need to network more, connect with your clients or past clients or referral sources, I was going to put photos of restaurants and food. That's where it gets a little bit dangerous because I feel like if you stare at your
I thought you were going to put
board,
people's heads up, like
know-
all the people that you need to reach out to, so you could just get everybody's photo put it on the vision
You could do
board.
a bunch of heads. That might be like a Criminal Minds episode. I'm not sure.
Quite a vision board.
Yes, I was more worried about being hungry all the time and eating out every night for the next 12 months. But if you know you need to network, putting pictures of restaurants, and you know you need to take people out to dinner and network, etc. The heads, I'll let everybody know if I see Amy's vision board and your head is on it. I'll just let you know.
Oh my God. All right, on to that then is number 3, which is actually a technique that I love about manifesting. Mel was talking about how a lot of the Olympic athletes do this. It's where they actually take time to visualize or imagine crossing that finish line or seeing whatever success or goal that they have. And she said they go so far as to feel what the air will feel like that day, what it might smell like when they're out in, let's say they're running a race, but maybe it's raining. They say that they take the time to really visualize watching them achieve that goal. And so, this is something that probably for all of us, we may not do it every day, but I loved this idea of maybe even just once a month, finding a space where you're kind of quiet, have a chance to take a look at your vision board, and then maybe spend some time really visualizing what would life be like when, not if, but when I achieve some of these things that I have set out for myself. And, really seeing yourself in that action or in that activity. And she said this is something that was really effective, and a lot of these Olympic athletes, it's part of their training because it's not only just something where they imagine, but it's actually something that happens in the brain. It's a neurological reaction. The brain starts seeing what you are going to be, and so it will naturally start doing things and having you take steps to get there. So it's actually a brain practice or brain training when you're going through sort of imagining or visualizing the success that you want to achieve in your goal.
That's really neat. Our brains are far more powerful than we realize, right? Okay, training your brain. Okay. So number 4 then. Number 4, it's the easiest one to say probably, but the hardest one to do. And that's the keyword is do. You actually have to do the steps in your plan. Do the steps that you know you need to take to get there. Let's go a little bit further then in terms of the doing and actually getting this done, putting yourself in a position to do it. Meaning if you know that it is prospecting, if you know that it is, let's call it referral generation, you know you need to connect with past clients and referral sources, putting yourself in a position and a schedule in a way that it makes it easy for you to accomplish. So we'll leave it there. The key is though that a lot of us miss. We're really good at setting goals. And I think the things from today really are understanding, okay, it's about not just that end goal, it's about the steps to get there. It's visualizing what those steps are, creating that vision board. It's visualizing what it will be like when you get there, and then doing the steps that it takes to get there. Sometimes while it's the easiest one to say, it's the one that we miss, and then we wonder whether it's in a year or 2 years, why we're not where we want to be.
Yeah, I loved it. And we have included a link to Mel's full podcast. So if you want to listen to the episode, there's a lot of additional information, great takeaways. She's one of my favorite people to listen to. But it's also really just helping to train your brain to get out of a place of, I can't do that, or I can't get there, to what will life be like when I am there, because I am going to get there. And I know for many of us, that can be really hard. Life hits us with a lot of different things. So I feel like this is a practice that you can start working on. And again, it isn't just this huge overwhelming thing. It's really kind of back to breaking it down day by day, step by step. So on that note, check out her full podcast. We thank you so much for joining us this Tuesday morning. We'll look forward to seeing you next week. But until then, remember, you got this.